Hello and good morning, Gamer Nation. Welcome to today's incredible new episode of Breakfast with Boom. And I am your host, as usual, Mr. Boomstick XL, and we have an outstanding show for you here today. Lots of big gaming news to get into. And of course, I could not put this show together if I didn't have one hell of a panel, and that's what we're going to get into right now. We're going to do the introductions, and we're going to start with our regular members. First, you know him as someone that's on loan from PlayStation Nation. Quite frankly, he's putting me in the poorhouse, getting him here each and every week. Please welcome Mr. Bad Bit.
I'm not used to going first. I like it. What's going on, guys? I have had little sleep due to a
why didn't you have a good night's sleep, Joe? Tell the audience.
Demon Souls, man. That's what I'm about. I stayed up till 3 a.m. and here I am. You know, I feel like I'm halfway through. I really do. I got, I think,
you never played it before.
No, I've never played Demon Souls before.
Oh. So,
like, I wanted to play the granddaddy that started it all, that gave me the game of last generation, which is Bloodborne. Yeah. And I am in love with this game. It's beautiful. It is pretty difficult. I'm not gonna say it's the hardest thing ever. It's pretty difficult, but like it's a hell of a good time.
It's satisfying, difficult, and that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you so much for being here, Mr. Bad Bit. Next up, you know him as someone that instead of shaking your hand, cuts it off with a chainsaw. Our very good and raspy voiced Gears of War champion of justice. Please welcome Crispy Bomb.
Oh, that's a new one, Boom. I love it. And what's up, chat? What is up, everybody? It is going to be a fun show. We got a lot of great topics, kind of a couple little news bites that just came in, so looking forward to it.
Well, it's great to have you a part of the show, dude. And yes, at least you won't cut our hands off when you go to shake it with your chainsaw. So thank you so much for that. Next up, someone that has been making the rounds not only on this particular show, but on Wilmy Hood's show Wednesday evenings, and has an incredible YouTube channel for himself. Please welcome Dreadpool.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm here. I haven't had my bacon yet, but I've had plenty of Coca-Cola because I barely had any sleep. Let's do this.
And next up, someone that recently platinumed Spider-Man Miles Morales, and something I have to do. I only got an hour in that game. I should be ashamed, but I'm addicted to Assassin's Creed, and literally my map is filled with so many things to do. I don't know when I'm getting to Spider-Man. Please welcome, representing the Platinum Nation known as Sony, BitCloud Gaming. What's up, dude?
What's up? Good morning.
Morning, brother. Listen, another platinum to your collection. I think it was 168, if I'm not mistaken.
120.
Okay, I gave you an additional
168. I'm like, wow.
I put a lot of stuff on hold.
Yeah, I mean, so what were your thoughts on Spider-Man? Was it what you expected? Or was it better?
Before I answer that, David, did you beat it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he knows what I'm about to say in that small short span of what the story is, like what they deliver. Yeah. And for what they deliver, it's top tier. Like it's really top tier. I would say it's a worthy successor, but it's also a nice teaser to get you into the real. Let's keep it real. The real star of the show is Spider-Man 2. When they eventually get Spider-Man 2. This is just a teaser, the setup stuff. It's kind of like one of those. It's kind of like they basically, this is why I'm glad they partnered with Marvel. They basically took the same approach from the movies to the games. So basically they'll have like those small cameos. They'll have those small like bits and pieces type of setups to, lead to that big reveal. And then we finally see a certain character. And I was shocked that he was even mentioned at the end of this, but it really does open the door. It sets up some other cool stuff. Excellent. And I'm really excited for what they do later on. I don't know how long it's going to take them for Spider-Man 2. Take as long as you need. I'm ready. It looks that good. It was good for what it was.
You can imagine a 2 to 3 year development cycle for Spider-Man 2. I mean, obviously, if it's going to be as big as Spider-Man 1 was in 2018, Spider-Man obviously is a masterpiece. And you know what it is? I think they're going to have to potentially move the game a bit. Maybe, try some different areas, because obviously we had a chance to see a good portion of Queens. You got Brooklyn with Miles.
You see, and COVID interrupted with a lot of their marketing with it.
It sure did.
It was going to come out with it was going to come out with the movie. another movie. So more than likely, that's probably going to be the case with them. They're going to try to get it out as soon as possible to launch aside another Spider-Man movie and get the marketing right with it. So that's it pretty much for that.
I loved it, but like Miles for me, like that. First off, that ending fantastic. I really enjoyed the story. I think 2018 a bit better story. Like I kind of dug it a little bit better.
Yeah, because it was more to it, more layers.
Because it was a game.
Yeah, to me,
this was a DLC.
See, for me though, like I really everything else I prefer Miles over. Like story, sure, like it's smaller, it's a very much like self-contained, but like the combat in Miles, I really dug how Miles fought. I really love the
his flow. His flow was nice. What I appreciated about it is, because somebody asked me, because they know what my game of the decade was, and that's The Last of Us 2, and that because I felt that it defined it a genre, and but Spider-Man I felt was a better game, and he asked me why, and I told him because of all the DLC. All the DLC, because Last of Us 2 doesn't have any DLC, right? So, and The Last of Us 1 does. That's what made that game so great when you actually fleshed out the story. So after you finish your story in the first Spider-Man, and then you got all that DLC, which within itself, contained within itself, those hours that you played within itself, built on top of a fantastic game. To bookend that with this is monumental. I can't separate the two. I can't say that Miles is a separate game away from the Spider-Man, because it isn't. Because
it really isn't.
Yeah, he leads you into it.
It's a continuation. It's another chapter. Yeah, and
when you get to control this character, I'm in utopia. I'm so sorry. I don't care what nobody say. It was and it is my reason for owning my PlayStation 5. Yeah, I could have played it on PlayStation 4, but I'm a graphics whore and I don't care.
I love it too, Dave. I'm glad you said that. They even added Miles' own swag to the web swinging, where like he adds his personality where he does like that backward swing and you can do different tricks.
Do you know what I noticed?
So much to this game.
You know what I noticed? Spider-Man Peter Parker, and being that the character, if you see the character, you play the game, he controls a mature.
Yep. Miles
controls like a juvenile. Very quick, very precise movements. It's just and then it lends to his powers of the electricity.
Yeah, it's uncontrolled.
Yeah. So I felt that they did so well with what they had, and the reveal of the character, the Tinker, and the uncle and the stuff like that. It was a lot of things that they did so unbelievably well that you have to look at them differently as far as storytelling.
Yeah. I also love how they did side quests in that game.
Yes.
Just like, okay, let's clear this fucking map. Let's just put everything on the phone. And then like when it comes to like the crimes, it's just like crime will pop up.
Call in, you see it on the right side. Like, hey, did you know there's somebody just got robbed over here? I'm on my way. You go.
I'm on my way.
Like beautiful. They streamlined. It was something that was convoluted before, and they found a way to fix it. So it's only going to lend itself to Spider-Man 2 when they get enough time, and I have perfect confidence in his studio to deliver that story. Do they do the story when he's away? Because he has that period of time. He's out of New York City. You get a chance to, because remember he went abroad. So and they could fill in that gap there. They could do so much with it that it's a great thing. And also the fact that Sony is doing the Into the Spider-Verse 2, and there are characters that they can actually use and do that can lend to like a Jessica Drew. There's stuff that they can do, and I'm so happy to be a gamer to understand what's on the horizon.
I'm shocked by you didn't say though.
What?
That soundtrack.
The
music in this game is top tier. I don't know who they got to compose this. I don't know whoever it did, but they need to bring this guy back. He brought his own flair to this.
They made it hip, young, and urban.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, speaking of which, let's get to King's intro so we can get into the topic. So we can start the Spider-Man old show, and we don't want to lose the viewers because I know if it's exciting for us for sure, but maybe a lot of people are not into it. And I wouldn't know why you wouldn't be. I mean, listen, if you. No. This is a conversational podcast. This is what we do. We talk about games because we're excited about playing games. Listen, it's okay to have a preference. Yep. And it's okay to say I only want a game on one console. But if you're here to tune into Breakfast with Boom, you got to understand that this is a multiplat kind of a conversation. And as gamers, which everyone here is, we are going to gravitate to what interests us. And hopefully at some point during the conversation, it interests you. But King David, you have obviously, you're coming back off being sick. I know you missed the big ILP a couple weeks back. I know that, obviously, you never want to miss when a Microsoft executive is on your show with the Iron Lords. But listen, you were sick. Now you seem to be much better. Welcome back to this particular program. And again, how you feeling?
I'm feeling a whole lot better. It was crazy is Jason Ronald was in my DM like right after the show, giving me well wishes, and we talked pretty much, okay. I think I could say that. And just a very genuine dude. Anytime I seen him at, Fan Fest and stuff like that, we talk. We don't even be talking games. We talk, I don't know, like beard stuff, weirdo stuff. I don't know, like whatever mimosas that I'm going to drink or something. And, he's just a very nice dude. And I really wanted to be on the show, but God has different plans for everybody at different times. And, trust me, I was sick to death. I'm still getting over this cold. I tell everybody, please wear your mask. Please make sure that you wash your hands. Please make sure that you're using your sanitizer and stuff like that. Yep. Because this stuff is very real out here. They don't have a handle on it, and they don't really know what's going on. So be careful out here, people.
Yeah, well, listen. Obviously, be responsible. That's really what it comes down to. Be a responsible human being, and don't be arrogant. Don't think that you can't get sick because, quite frankly, you're just a cough away from inhaling someone's sickness. Yep. So be smart. Wash your hands. Wear gloves. Definitely wear a mask, and don't take for granted your health. That is for sure. But listen. I want to get into the first mini topic of the day. This one is a little bit of a shocker, to be honest with you. But Crossfire X, which is an exclusive for the Xbox Series X and S, was supposed to launch alongside the console. But due to exactly what we were just talking about moments ago, COVID-19 has affected the entire world, not just through health, but through production in movies and music, and of course now video games. And the team that is making Crossfire X, is of course Remedy is heavily involved in the single player campaign, as well as of course the multiplayer, which is being redone. Now this is a game that was very popular and still is very popular in Korea. It is their Call of Duty Warzone. It has been for many years. And this was the response on Twitter from the company, from the team that's making Crossfire. It says, after much deliberation and in consideration of the challenges faced by Smilegate, due to COVID-19, we have made the difficult decision to delay the release of Crossfire X to 2021, which is next year. Moving our release will allow us to deliver the Crossfire experience on console our team is set to create. We'll have more to share in the future, and they've signed the Crossfire team. Now, my response to them was, of course, as much as I'm really looking forward to Remedy Games' story-driven experience coming to Crossfire X, I completely understand how the pandemic has impacted development across the entire industry. So, again, not the biggest topic of the day. It certainly falls into what I like to call the bits and bytes section of each show that we do. King, for you, is it a big deal, or is this something that we should expect many teams to be faced going into next year in regards to delays?
Oh man, listen. We thought that it was going to be a minor hiccup, and that was our arrogance. these teams are facing it seems like unsurmountable odds to have these consoles launch at all. It's an incredible feat. Oh boy, shut up. Sorry, that's the GoPro. For even anything close to getting Assassin's Creed Valhalla and out, these games that are so robust to get out the door is incredible. So when I seen this, yes, I mean, was it one of the games on my list? Of course, it was one of the games on my list. It's an Xbox game. I'm an Xbox gamer. I wanted to play the game. 2021. I've noticed that 2021 is going to be a stacked year for us as far as games go, and then they're going to figure out how to position it so we can have stuff to go through month by month. But yes, it's something that I was looking forward to. And I want to see any new game, to be honest with you. I got all this new hardware, and I don't really want to play all these old games, even though I was just playing some World War Z, which looks crazy phenomenal all of a sudden. And I could not stand the game a minute ago, but it actually plays like how I wanted it to play in the beginning. When a game comes out, I'm pretty sure that we're all going to link up and we're all going to have a great time with it. But give the teams as much time as they need to finish these games. It's better to ship finished and complete than broken and incomplete and have to patch it up and then have other companies talk about how the frame rate isn't right and this wasn't done properly. And I'm pretty sure it has everything to do with these SDKs and the GDKs for the Xbox, where they need to be up to snuff. Right now they're not, and I'm pretty sure they're getting them out to all these companies and developers to make sure that the developers have the proper tools to show the actual power within the console. So yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, and again, this is something that I know people get frustrated, but for God's sakes, I mean, like, if you again, maybe you're not an open world kind of a player. Maybe you like smaller experiences. But just on the last week or so, and what we have coming out in the next 2 weeks, think about this for a second. Let's just take a step back and take a look. If you're complaining about games being delayed, you have just off the top of my head, you have Watch Dogs Legions, which is probably a 100-hour game. If you are invested like I am, you have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, another 100-hour plus game. You have Spider-Man Miles Morales, a smaller game but a very, very stout one in its own right. You also have Cyberpunk 2077 and Phoenix Rising coming out on the 5th and 10th respectively. I mean, folks, there's a lot to be excited about for sure. But let's get on Mr. Bandbit. Mr. Bandbit, this is the delay. This is a game that was coming out exclusively for the Xbox. More specifically, what I'm looking forward to, at least, is seeing how Remedy Games incorporates a first-person shooter narrative. That's something to me that's very exciting because I like Remedy. I don't like what they did in regards to that whole publisher thing, but they're still a great developer and they know how to tell great stories. Are you disappointed by the delay?
No, on a personal anecdote, I'm not too. I don't see the allure to Crossfire. It doesn't look my thing. I played the beta. It was not good. So for me, I don't mind. But that being said, if this means the game is delayed and it's all of a sudden really awesome, that's great. But I think it speaks to what King was saying. Right now, we were talking a little bit before the show about logistics, and the world situation has really, really put a challenge to how production is laid out, how products are created, and how they're delivered to people. And so, we're going to see more delays. Absolutely. We're going to see, more developers come out with the yellow Cyberpunk card and go, hey, gang, sorry. But this one, I'm fine with. 2021 gives us more time. I think you said it perfectly, Boom. Look, we got so many games right now. And I've heard on so many podcasts, they're like, you know what, kind of happy Cyberpunk's delayed, all things considered, because I got so many games to play right now. I got Gears Tactics, Demon Souls, Miles Morales, Sackboy Big Adventure. Like, there's a lot of games. And then, like what you said, Phoenix Rising, like Valhalla, I'm close to beating. I need to get done. So there's a lot on my plate as a gamer. So I don't think anybody should be freaking out,
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Real quick, let me just catch up on a few of the super chats that have come in. Tempest Sun drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hello, panel. Have a killer show." Thank you so much for that. And we also have another one that came in from a very generous friend of the show, Eagles fan 76 drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Wow, Boom, what a panel today. Each of these guys, when I hear them, make me laugh and just bring a smile to my face. So thank you all here. Game on." Well, thank you for the compliment, brother. And of course, this is a stout panel, and I want to continue this particular conversation. And we'll go to Crispy Bomb. Crispy, delays seem to be a thing that we are going to have to get used to. And I know like I said earlier, people get upset with them because they want what they want when they want it. Unfortunately, folks, they are human beings just like us, and we have to understand that creating games in the space that they currently have to create games is now a new learning experience. Before, you were shoulder to shoulder with your mates making your game in set, country or a region, and you would spend 12 and 18 hours a day making said game, rubbing elbows and eating lunch and taking breaks and potentially, just falling asleep at your desk. Now that is not the case. This is a much different world, and games are going to take a little bit longer, potentially a lot longer. Are you surprised by the Crossfire delay?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't think anybody's surprised at any delay at this point. I mean, if you are, you got to understand that we're about to have a second wave coming.
Yep.
I work in retail and people are going nuts again. Okay. They are literally buying paper products like it's out of style. And like my store is just extra busy all over again. And I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. So it's always fun to work in retail, but you also see what's going on. And, most of the states are in red. A lot of the countries are in red. It's ramping back up, and I mean, I'm just surprised at the games we got. Honestly, I mean, whatever Ubisoft did, kudos to them because they're keeping people very happy right now.
Yep,
and they were ready to roll regardless of what was going on. So I mean, that's pretty impressive. But I mean, we want them to build the best game possible, and we know Remedy can make a great story experience. So why not let it cook and hopefully they don't drop alongside some big name hitters out there, because a lot of these games seem to be going in the first quarter of next year. And I mean, if we got too much to play in one spot, I'd rather them delay again and go to another spot so people got time to play the games that are already coming out, because it's looking pretty stacked at the beginning of next year.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I think there literally is something for everyone. If you look at what's coming into Game Pass, if you look what is available from Sony, if you look what, like, perfect example, today after the show, me and Mrs. Boomstick have some running around to do. I am stopping by GameStop to pick up the new Zelda Calamity beat 'em up, slash 'em up, I guess, hack 'em up, if you will. And I don't know if you got anyone played the demo, King. I think it's a masterpiece. It just looks so good.
And I can't wait to play that game for the simple fact that it is part of one of the reasons why I brought a Switch. And I want to know more about that story, even though it's a different type of game. But the storytelling, it's going to give you more insight because it's supposed to be like a prequel to Breath of the Wild. So I want that. And remember, Breath of the Wild 2 is about to drop at some point in time.
March with the new console. Listen, I called it first. Put the Switch Pro and Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 to launch it is what I'm thinking. And I think that the second part of that year is going to be Metroid Prime 4 releasing the same in the same way that Mario did when the Switch
you hear
launched.
about the company that does the haptic feedback is the ones that did the controller for the PlayStation?
Yeah, with
5?
the ice cubes. Yes,
right. So they're the same people, and hopefully they continue that same trend and have the two controllers with the new Switch, because I really like it. I'm sorry, I don't like the all-in-one unit. I don't care for it. but I do care for the actual Switch that actually can switch. But yeah. I hope they do something with the little triggers. You know, I don't know.
I hope they don't phase that out. You remember how they did the
I don't think they're going to. I think a lot of people dig it. I definitely think a lot of people enjoy that. Listen, you can yes, they have drift. Is there an issue? And we're not going to get into it too deep here. But there is an issue, sure. But are those controllers still absolutely awesome that you can literally give one of those controllers to your wife, your kids, and you can sit there and play with them on that little controller? Sure. Is it ideal for the hardcore gamer? Probably not. But in essence, the coolness of it is that you can logistically go from playing, holding the thing, putting it into your docking it, taking it out, standing it on the kickstand, and playing with your kids. It's just it's an amazing piece of tech. But Big Cloud, let me get your
64 control all over again.
It really is. It really is. But for you, Big Cloud, is this delay for Crossfire surprising?
No, it's needed. Like again, when they launch these systems, this is not the perfect time to launch systems. Let's just keep it real. Like it's the worst time. Everybody wants one. Everybody's scalping them now. Charging the triple. The king put a smile on his face with this one. But people are scalping them, selling them 3 times as much. One dude wanted $5,000 for a PS5.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean, God bless if he can get it. I mean, I got $3,000 for mine.
Oh no. They're selling them again. I don't really see this as a big deal at all. It's best they do this, and the reason why, again, there's already enough games as it is right there. Like you have Valhalla, which looks good. You got Cyberpunk coming around the corner. You got Miles Morales on the field, and also you got Demon's Souls. So pick away. I mean, you got games.
Yeah, there's plenty of games to play, and like I said, it's a smorgasbord right now of not only new games, but there are plenty of old games from 2019 that a lot of people didn't get around to, even 2018 for that matter. Dreadpool, for you personally, are you surprised by the delay, or do you expect more and potentially bigger titles to be held off until maybe 2022?
Well, I hope they don't come up until 2022, but yeah, I expect it. I mean, we already see that they've admitted that the consoles were lackluster when it comes to production. There's been so many hurdles that they've had to overcome. Same thing with the game developers. I mean, we've talked with Italian Clowns, and I have interviewed some of them, and we've talked to them about all this stuff, and some of them that have had non-central office where they all work from home, but yet they have an office, even they were affected, even though they're not affected as much as the other companies that had a central office and nobody's ever had to work from home before. You know what I mean? So even that, it was a factor. I mean, so does it need to be delayed? Yeah. Delay it, whatever. Let's make sure that these games come out good the first time, because games like, what was that? No Man's Sky. I'm still not trying it out. It's already got a bad taste. I'm not even trying it out. But they've also made a comeback from such a bad press and negativity about it. You know what I mean? And that was when everything was good. Now we have all these games nonstop going to come out like this. No, just hold them off. There's so many other games that are making up the deficit of games that are being pushed back. So not a big deal. Let them do what they got to do. We also got to understand that there is something going on that's causing all this stuff to falter. So give them their time, and they will make the games. And that extra time will give us the polish and the perfection that we want from our games, so we can enjoy them.
Yeah, no, I that's a great sentiment. And I kind of want to just throw this out before we move on to the second topic of the day. And that is that we have to remember, folks, people's health and safety and well-being should be paramount to any part of any conversation when talking about COVID. Remember, these folks that make these great experience for us, these worlds that we live in while we're playing, are human beings. They have families, they have wives, they have kids, they have husbands, they have daughters, they have mothers, fathers, and grandparents. And nobody wants to take a chance of pushing the envelope to get a game into our hands and potentially bring home that horrendous virus to their loved ones and see them pass away. So we have to be a little bit understanding, and we have to be a little respectful for what they're doing for us. Because remember, they're telling these stories that they only see in their mind, and we get a chance to experience them in real life when we put these controls in our hands. So we have to be, again, patient and respectful. And I mean, some of the things I've seen on social media when a game gets delayed is disgusting.
May I add one more thing?
Sure.
Okay. The other thing is death threats do not speed up the game. Okay?
Yes,
it only
great
slows
points.
them down, because now they got to watch their back. They got to watch this. They got to call the police. They got to call, they got to do all this stuff and let everybody else know that they're working with. All it does is slow everything down.
And whoever gives death threats, you're a really sad human.
Yeah,
also, it's a
crime.
Listen, let me just say this. You guys can continue with this particular conversation in a second. Folks, coming from a law enforcement point of view, death threats is considered aggravated harassment. It is an A misdemeanor, and it's a crime, and you can go to jail. So don't be an ass and threaten people using your computer or your phone.
See, the thing is, boom, they feel safe and secure behind the keyboard. That's
because I was about to say we didn't have that type of the stupidity when I was growing up. What Strider was delayed for a couple of months. Did you hear us yell out, Sega, Capcom, we'll get you? Like, just please, man, just wait for your game.
Do it now for clout.
You got that much money that you want to burn to the floor. Go pick up a game inside the game store, play that until a game that you want comes out. Cut it out.
I absolutely agree. But listen, I do want to get into a particular topic that I'm excited about. And this is, again, Bites and Bits, part of the show, a little bit of a smaller topic that may not be a lot of, some. Basically, these topics are ones that other podcasts are not covering because they may not be as big news. But this one is big to me. It's big, especially for King, because he's also an OG like myself. On February 16th of 2016, Capcom released Street Fighter V exclusively on the PlayStation 4, and obviously when they marked it as a console exclusive, many in the community cried foul, because obviously Street Fighter is one of those franchises that was notoriously known to be pretty much on everything. Outside of a refrigerator, they had Street Fighter, and what a lot of people don't understand about why that happened. It wasn't because Sony was looking to hold games back from people. They were looking to, of course, get exclusives for their machine. But people always wondered why Capcom would do something like that. And what people fail to understand is Capcom was in financial trouble in late 2015, to the point where even the words of bankruptcy, filing for Chapter 11 was a consideration. They were on the brink of it, folks. And obviously, they made deals with both Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft got the Dead Rising franchise to be a launch title for their console, and Sony got their hands on the Street Fighter V IP, and they made that game happen. Both companies invested in the development of that game. Otherwise, those games would not have happened from Capcom. Well, thanks to the incredible sales of Resident Evil 7 and the resurgence of the brand focus for Capcom, they have once again become a force to be reckoned with. And since RE7, folks, they have released an incredible stout list of games that includes Monster Hunter World, Devil May Cry 5, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, RE2 Remake, RE3 Remake, and a host of classic 2D remakes, making one of the biggest comebacks in gaming history, in my opinion. Now, as it was reported, an unknown hacker group stole 1 terabyte worth of Capcom secrets and demanded big bucks to have it returned. And as of this writing, Capcom is currently working with local authorities to get that information back and bring the situation to a close. But one of the big pieces of information that was just released was about the rumored Street Fighter 6 that was expected to, of course, release on the PlayStation 5 and PC. Well, it has been officially confirmed via documents that were released to the public that PlayStation 5 is not going to be the only console having Street Fighter 6, and there's not even an exclusive year in front of it. It is releasing to the Xbox Series X and S, and of course, it is releasing on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And as a huge Street Fighter fan, I am thrilled to know that Capcom is not only in a much better financial position, but that exclusive deals like Street Fighter 6 could now be enjoyed by everyone. King, I want to go to you. I know that, like myself, if it would have been exclusive for the PlayStation, you would have purchased it, and so would I. But I like the choice of knowing that I can play the game where I want. How excited are you to know that Street Fighter 6 is coming to the Xbox brand? One and again, like Street Fighter 4 will sell very well.
Well, when it was exclusive to the PlayStation 4, I was kind of disheartened, because I was always in the camp of getting multiple copies of Street Fighter to see which copy was the best, from Alpha to the original Street Fighter to Fighting Streets on TurboGrafx, things of that. And it was a staple, Super Nintendo Street Fighter versus Genesis Street Fighter, things like that. We would purchase multiple copies of the same game. Well, you have one copy, and I guess maybe you were able to put it up against the PC to see the PC version. I'm not playing Street Fighter on my PC. Forget that. I played it on my PlayStation Pro, and it kind of sucked because Capcom was in a position of desperation.
Yes, they were.
And I know you're gonna say, King, you have to have that same energy with the Dead Rising. Yep, you're right. I'm gonna have that same energy with the Dead Rising because the PlayStation didn't get a chance to partake in that in their launch. So when a company is at desperation mode and other companies come in and they pick them like vultures, pick them apart, pick them to the bones, sometimes they don't recover. Like Boom said, they were on the brink of, and I believe they started to file Chapter 11 or Chapter 7. And once they're in the proceedings of doing so, they released a string of hits.
Yep.
And those hits parlayed and staved off the actual closing of the chapters and the completion of the chapters that were filed. So when they did release the Resident Evil 2, and I think Resident Evil 2 remake was the catalyst of good content from older IPs, because they are ones that have a catalog. If you look at the list that was released, man, I'm so stoked for 2022. Is crazy. But they have a catalog, and they're one of the few that can go digging in the crates, and if done properly, you will have a great title. So right now, which is really weird, that this even happened. The other day, I put in Resident Evil 2, the remake that I've never got a chance to finish because I said, I'll wait till I get my X Series S and play this game. And I put it in, and it's running at flawless 60, 4K is beautiful. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I can't wait to finish this so I can play 3. Then the information hit, and then I'm like, what? Street Fighter? And then I'm thinking about all the Capcom titles. One thing that pissed me off, and I automatically thought about a Boom, was No Dino Crisis was on the list.
Yep.
I was going to say, I'm about to lose a knee. I'm about to steal your line.
Yeah,
No Dino Crisis mentioned.
I was really
disappointed with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I saw Omnimusha and stuff like that. But Street Fighter is the topic, and the fact that Street Fighter will get a chance to get purchased twice, because I will be purchasing it twice just to see if the shadows on the supers are purple or stuff like that. Me saying something like that will only resonate with a Saturn and a PlayStation 2 dude. When we had to see if the shadows was the same. It's just little things like that will ensure that your title lives on. And Yeah, you may say, yeah, King, that doesn't make any sense. If you have one console, you should just buy that one game. Don't worry about my pockets. Stay out of it.
Yeah, love it.
But I can't wait to play it because I can get a chance to play BitCloud, and then I can get a chance to go play Boom, and I can get a chance to play Mr. Badbit if it comes on a Nintendo Switch. Please put the game wherever, however, as many places as it possibly can fit. Just give me the opportunity to spread my money around.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I understand exclusives are a thing, right? But Street Fighter is one of those franchises that, again, has been on everything. And really, Street Fighter 4, one of the most popular modern age Street Fighters, was on everything.
Yeah.
And to see that, pulled away from Xbox players, and like I said, I don't care because I bought the special edition with Ryu. He's just sitting right here above my head.
Yep.
So I bought it there, but BitCloud, look, this is a big deal for gamers. I think this is even a bigger deal for Xbox gamers, that we know now that Capcom, and one of your favorite companies, just like it is mine, is not only in a great financial position, but they are cranking out really great games. They have really not put out a bad game since they started on this reign of a return from Resident Evil 7. And Street Fighter 6 now is going to be coming to not just the new consoles, but the old OG generation that we just passed. And I'm excited for that. For you, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I said, I'm with King. They'll like fully be in everybody's like good gracious permanently the moment we see Dino Crisis.
Yeah, man.
They'll be in everybody's good gracious. That's what I want. But as far as the games and what they're doing, I'm okay with it. As far as like this game going everywhere, a lot of people might be upset about this. Don't be. Listen, if you're a big fan of this game, this is why this is a positive thing. And I'm gonna bring up a real interesting thing that a lot of people probably don't even know. If you guys look at the Evo like tournaments as of late, Street Fighter is like dead last.
Yeah,
in terms of participation, in terms of like the attendance and how people compete in this, is dead last. Like the venues for them have always been small since last gen. It just wasn't been a big deal. And to make it even worse for you, y'all remember Street Fighter used to be like insane, right? It used to be like a phenomenon back in the day. Look at Tekken 7. Tekken 7 introduces Kingdom Fighters into the game in general, and that has grown tremendously since last gen. That's been a big staple for the longest. Everybody's hyped for Tekken 8, but the thing is, Capcom sees this, right? And they want that type of impact on their games. Yep. So it makes sense on this to do this. Now, I'm okay with doing this because, I get a chance to play against Boom and Dave and everybody. But one thing I do want, though, I'm surprised nobody's throwing this out here, I want Discord to be on these consoles so that we can all actually talk and do this.
I don't use Discord, sir.
You use Discord. But we need an option for this, for crossplay and all that. Like, honestly, that's the only thing I want. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's going to happen. I think crossplay is becoming more common than ever. Yes. I think that we pretty much. I think the gaming community willed this into existence with their outcry for wanting to play against other console holders. I don't think it's like, hey, the Xbox has better players in this game, or the PlayStation has better players in this particular game. I think what that does is just opens up the ability for a game to breathe and have a long life online. And a game like Street Fighter 6 will see not only potentially a resurgence in the fighting game genre, but also on the online fighting game genre, where people who particularly enjoy playing on their PlayStation more than their Xbox because they enjoy the controller better, and vice versa, will have an opportunity to play against one another. And I think that is awesome. Joe, for you, hearing that Capcom has now decided that it's not only financially sound, but better for the fighting game community to have Street Fighter on multiple consoles as well as PC. Do you find this to be a win for the gamers?
Let me tell you something about Street Fighter. I remember, here's my memory of Street Fighter right off the bat. Driving the family trip to Florida, because we're going to go to Orlando, we're going to go to Disney World. And playing, I believe, Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy. I think either 2 or just 1. Man, Like that's my memory with this game. That being said, I am awful at fighters. Ain't never been good at them. I am the person that'll just spam. I am not a challenge. I am very easy to beat. I don't like blocking.
Oh God.
Yeah, like blocking, never even heard about it. I just do down B and smash. That's always been my strat. So for me, for me, like as like the PlayStation fan, right? This is great news because like boom, you hit this in your beginning point that like Capcom was not doing well in the start of this generation. Them and Square made a lot of poor bets and put a lot of money into mobile games because that's what was going to be the future. And things didn't pan out for them the way they wanted. And so, I remember when Street Fighter V was announced as a PlayStation exclusive, Capcom made it very clear that like this game would not have existed if it wasn't for that Sony money. That this was a co-op of publishing between the two.
Yes.
So knowing that Street Fighter 6 is coming to all platforms kind of feels like it's coming home in a sense to a lot of gamers, which is great to see. Like, it's awesome to see that more people are going to get this game because honestly, if it is not Super Smash Brothers, a fighting game on one platform, I just don't think would survive. So,
Street Fighter survived though. I mean, it actually evolved from its original state. Its original state was a broken piece of metal.
God, it was bad.
Yes. And right now, if you go load that game up right now, after you download all the downloads and stuff that you got to do, the game is actually in a playable form with a whole complete story with a worldwide stuff. It blew my mind.
It's gorgeous.
This game evolved into what it evolved into. And if anybody has a problem with Sony, have a problem with Microsoft for not ponying up the other half of the money because it didn't make, it could have been both of those companies could have went in half and half. Listen, I understand X, Y, and Z. We got this bread. Let's put this money out. Let's help Capcom. Instead of going over there and poaching stuff, y'all could have worked together. And I'm seeing that seed spread now that these companies are working together. I don't know if it's
be a
because
vital blow to the console war bull.
Right. Don't feed into that because. It is not a war.
Exactly. Like a lot of people were missing the clues here. I remember when the Xbox Series X came out. What did Shuhei Yoshida do, King? He posted a picture of the Series X and was like, "Hey, Microsoft, congrats on your Series X."
Yeah, he sure did.
What Phil Spencer said, "Congratulations, Sony, on the success of PS5." I don't get why everybody's picking and choosing. Like, oh, this system's smoking.
The
way was bullshit. Excuse me, but it was bullshit.
Listen, don't be happy when a console has a problem because when my PlayStation, that thing popped up on the screen, scared the living life out of me. But it was working right after, and I promptly because everybody's like, "Oh, yours is it broken?" No, it's not.
It just needed to be reset. That's all.
Because I guess it's moving too fast for the memory, but I don't care. but my joint is working fine now. So for anybody got any concerns about my PlayStation is pretty fine.
I will say this though. After that update, I did suffer my first crash. After that update. But that was
because you probably had good memory at that point in
time. I don't know what they did in that update. That was like my first crash.
I'll say this: don't play I Am Mayo 2.
I was about to say, but Mayo 2 crashed my PS5.
Wait, I Am Mayo 2.
It's that game where you mash X. It's like a Mayo.
You mash X and you pay $1 and you get a platinum. So guess what Boom is doing?
Exactly.
You're paying $1 to get a platinum. So basically, you're paying $1, King, just to mash X. I think it's like 1,000 times. You got to hit an X 1,000 times, and then
and
you get a platinum.
I love
they don't just give it to you. You got to earn those clicks.
So I Am Mayo is the reason. Okay, don't worry. I will not be downloading.
This is.
I mean, I heard bad things about Godfall as well. Godfall was having issues.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's god awful. So
let's
back to the original point. Like, seeing them kick ass the way they have in the last few years. Like, I'm a new Resident Evil fan. I joined with 7. I absolutely adored it. I loved Remake 2. Like that might be my favorite, horror game or survival horror game. Resident Evil 3, fantastic. Like, I've enjoyed a lot of what Capcom's been putting out. And so seeing that more people are going to get to experience Street Fighter, and yes, crossplay being a thing, like, that's awesome news, man. Good job on Capcom. It sucks about the hacks. I heard a lot of like Resident Evil stuff got spoiled. Ain't nobody tell me. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I'm excited. This is great news. I probably won't buy the game because I'm just like, and it's always like a jealousy thing. Like, I wish I was actually good in a fighter, but I don't know what it is with me, man. Like, I'm really good at like first-person shooters. I'm pretty good at a Bloodborne, but like, I get to a fighter or a racer, and I'm just like, how do I hold the controller? Do I hold it like this? Like, yeah.
Listen, don't feel bad. I put in Tekken yesterday, and I was like, let me see what Tekken look like on my X. And I started playing, and they force you in the story mode to play with characters that you're not familiar with. The level of I want to break my controller right now because I do not know who this character is, and then they have me using them. Yeah, I felt like you. So trust me, if it's a character that I'm comfortable with, like Ken or Ryu or whoever on Tekken, Law, yeah, I'm gonna have a great time. But if I'm forced to use somebody I'm not familiar with, the hell to no, I'm gonna break this controller today.
Well, listen, you know what? I want to bring, pardon me, I want to bring in Crispy Bomb into the conversation because Crispy, being that you are someone that does professionally retail, you understand that when something is not selling well, you got to make changes to it to make it sell. And what people don't understand is that currently right now, Street Fighter V is the worst selling in the entire franchise. And for Capcom's good reason. They failed on the game originally. The game released in the most unbelievably broken state. But since then, they have continued to pour development love into it, and it is right now a masterpiece. It is probably the best looking Street Fighter in the history of the franchise. But you hearing that 6 is now going to come to multiple platforms where multiple millions of gamers are going to be able to play it that cross multiple generations, which is important. You got the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One community that has not been forgotten. You have, of course, the new generation that started a week ago in the PS5 and the Series X and S, and of course PC. They're all going to be well represented for this particular new game that's coming up potentially, again, folks, potentially next year. What are your thoughts on that, Crispy?
As it should be, Boom. I mean, I grew up and Capcom was in the arcade. It was on your Sega, your Nintendo. Any game they made was all over the place. And, it's just, it's what it has to be. I mean, it was always Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat were just religiously, I was buying those, and it would always be, one would be better than the other on a given year. And, even like Capcom versus Marvel, love those games. Those games are just amazing. I would play them all the time, versing my friends at their houses or at my house. It was always just a great time. I think personally that, because you're going to come to Xbox, a lot of Xbox gamers haven't played a Street Fighter in so many years at this point. They're going to probably break some records on Xbox because I think a lot of people like myself are kind of itching for another Street Fighter. It's been so long. It feels like that, now it's like this game's finally coming. I'm really excited for it. And, hopefully they figured out the kinks and it comes out in a great state and it's not broken or anything like that. We want the best possible experience, and it's a fighter. Okay. You can't really ignore the fact when something's broken like that and it's a fighting game or a racing game. I think, there was major issues. Obviously, financially, they were hurting at the time. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe they were just like, look, we got to get this out here, or we're not going to survive, type thing. But hopefully we get the quality that they've been giving lately with the remakes, and Resident Evil definitely has brought them back into the forefront of being a great developer once again. And I'm happy to see it, because like I said, it's literally like ingrained in my gaming soul with Capcom. It's just one of those things that, glad they didn't die, because then it would be like, wow, that really that's a horrible thing.
Yeah, you would hate for Capcom to become irrelevant like Konami has, and I always thought that Capcom was Konami is just that they're awful.
Yeah, Konami's pretty much
they're pretty much dead. But
King, if you're not gaming on one of these,
I'm
missing out if you're not playing one of these. I'm just saying.
It's so shiny.
It's funny because I have a Street Fighter for both consoles just like that. I have a professional stick for both.
I have them upstairs for my 360.
Korean or Japanese?
I have never brought another one. Like, I still got them, still got it in the box. And I tried to introduce my son to it. And my son looked at me like I was out of this planet, like I was from space. he
don't understand what that
massive thing.
He doesn't.
This is simple.
You guys can see right now, like right here, there it is. And that's what I'm used to playing on. I'm used to playing on them fighting sticks and the 6-button controllers, and
that's old school right there.
3 buttons up top to punch you in your face, and 3 buttons at the box to kick you in the neck. And I see those 2 extra buttons. You're a cheater. Those are the cheating sticks. You got a cheater stick because you can put turbo on one of those buttons.
You see that stick right there? A lot of people don't know what that stick is. That's a Korean lever.
Yeah,
that's old school. This is old school. This lever, old school.
Look at that.
So that's how you do it. That's how you do
it. That's how you do it. Indeed. But listen, Dreadpool, let's get your opinion on this. I don't know whether or not you are a huge, but you're an old school cat like us, so you probably have fond memories of dropping quarters in the Street Fighter. For you, as someone that it does want to support multiple consoles, are you happy to know that the Xbox community will be getting Street Fighter 6 as well?
Well, let's go back into the past. All right. So, I'm supposed to be going to college. Next door is a mini putt-putt golf course, arcade place. And I gave the college my money and spent all my time next door. Okay, that being said, I played the OG Street Fighter back then, okay? And right around the corner, the new Street Fighter 2 cabinet came out. So popping quarters there. And then, lo and behold, what came around after that? Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, those are good old days.
They kept those 2 things kept me going throughout my college years. Okay. So we need this. We need this so bad. I mean, this you guys remember how we used to play next to each other, popping elbows at each other because, like, damn it, I'm gonna get you, and we were. It's all play, it's all fun, but you're going to try to win somehow. And if that elbow was your advantage, you pop it out there a little bit, but you had the button smashers. You had the guys that knew every little critique and button placement and everything like that. And yet you look at the button smasher and you're like, how the heck did he even pull that off? You know what I mean? It was so weird, but that's how we used to play, and this is good. This is what we need. This is what we need to have a console war with, okay? This part is what I'm talking about for console wars, right? PlayStation and Xbox playing against each other with each other.
Yeah, that's a great point.
This is what we need. This is how we get these games to live longer and actually, like for us, the old guys that played in the arcade, remember these and love these games. Why? Because I don't care who that guy was, but when we played, we were friends.
Yeah.
Right? We walked away as friends and we had a mutual respect to go back and play again, and it was just another guy that just walked off the street, or it was my college buddy, or it was somebody, you know what I mean? You never know who was going to come up and put that quarter down. but you walked away. You're like, all right, that was a great match.
Yo,
I almost had you there.
I'm glad you brought that up. That just brought me back. That just brought back a crazy memory. Who remembers Capcom versus SNK 2?
Dude,
that brought back that right there. When dude used to do the ultimate Rugal his finisher, like the whole combo. Oh my god.
But yeah, so it's definitely good. This is what we needed. The way that Street Fighter 5 popped off, it was a bad taste in your mouth,
Yeah, it was. For sure.
We need this kind of competition because you know why? Mortal Kombat is not doing this. You know why? Killer Instinct, where the hell is it? You know what I mean?
It's funny you should say that because that's a great point. The reason why you want to see Street Fighter 6 come out for everything is because the more consoles or places that you can play it at will show people, like, for instance, there are two particular fighters that I want to see make a return. One has a very unlikelihood unless Sony really kind of digs into their past. And I'd love to see that the resurgence of a fighting game genre see the return of the PlayStation All-Stars 2. That would be, again, is it going to happen? Probably not, but that's something I would love because the first one was amazing.
I thought you was gonna say Bloody Raw. Bloody Raw.
Yeah, Bloody Raw was that's
okay.
Fantastic.
That was ahead of his time, King. That was
yes, I want Bloody Raw. So, do you understand how hard I played my PlayStation when Bloody Raw 2 came out? I lost my mind. Oh man,
I played Bloody Roar 2 until I got the dreaded red screen of death on my PS2.
Oh, sorry to hear that, brother.
Yeah, that a classic thing. But you know what? Selfishly enough, the reason why I'm happy this is coming to Xbox, the reason why I'm happy that we could see a resurgence in the fighting game genre is because someone at Microsoft needs to, and again, this is going to be a little harsh, pull their head out of the sand and stop with the nonsense and release a proper Killer Instinct 2. If they don't have the team there to do it now, then go out and find that team. There are so many great developers, houses that are smaller that could potentially bring us a Killer Instinct 2. Killer Instinct 1, if you look at that game right now and you were to have launched what they have currently, right now on your Series X or S, you would be amazed. That game released in 2013, and it looks and plays like the most modern fighter possible. Yeah. And it for me, as someone who is a diehard fan, I actually have, and it's worth thousands, the Killer Instinct fight stick, just like that Street Fighter stick. Mm-hmm. I have that mint condition. I used it. It's in its box. It gets taken out at least twice a year. Yes, that is a hard stick to find. That is a very rare stick. And I
PS5.
Yes. And I absolutely love it. It is, for me, it's almost heart-wrenching that we don't have a Killer Instinct that launched with this console 7 years later after the original launch. It's
they lost the company. I mean, the company.
No, I get it. I get
Amazon purchased them, didn't they?
Yeah, but the first
Double
company,
Helix.
Yeah, Double Helix was purchased, but the second company that came in did just as good or better. And I think the only reason why they're not working on Killer Instinct is because they were contracted to do something else. But I think that you need to sit down with
the company that took over is Iron Galaxy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Iron Galaxy took over from Double Helix. And, they did an admirable job with the Season 2 pack. And I just think that it lacked direction. I didn't like it. I didn't like what they did to it. I didn't like what is it? Iron Galaxy did to it, because they turned it into this weird online thing where Double Helix, it was a contained entity, and you were able to just jump in and play arcade mode and this, that, and the third, and it had a beginning, middle, and end, and it had a story. And okay, fine, build on that. But then they turned it into some weird, these dudes landing on the planet and the shadow thing, and it killed it for me. And I was there from the beginning. So I think once they saw the metrics and saw that it didn't do well as far as with the initial core audience, maybe you did pick up new audience, but the initial core audience is the audience that's going to keep it going. If you change the fundamentals from that point, the fighters, we are very fickle people. We walk away from it. Hopefully they can get a new direction and get a new company to work on it. And we'll see something. I don't know. But in its present form, not for me.
All right. I mean, I totally get it. But listen, what I want to do is I want to move on to the next big topic. This is one of the meaty topics of the show. There's been a lot of talk on social media regarding it, but I want to catch up on some of the outstanding, very generous super chats that's come in. And the first one is Pixelbit G, another generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, Turbo Graphics had the best version of Street Fighter 2. You know what, dude? I don't remember that for some reason on Turbo Graphics.
They did. I got it.
And I probably do because I still have Turbo Graphics, but for some reason I don't remember that. DJ Birdo DOS drops a very generous $5 super chat. DJ, thanks for hanging out, brother. He says, a little late, but I'm here. Salute to the chat and the panel. Salute to you, my brother. Victor Alistine drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, what's good, panel? Glad to see you strong and back again, King. Them knees be waiting, sir. Is the Gears DLC still slated for December? As of this show, it is. There's been no talk of a delay regarding that particular single player DLC. So hopefully that does get released in December, potentially early December. But speaking of early December, Jeff Keighley has just announced the nominees for the Game of the Year Award 2020. The nominees in each category are now able for public voting, and winners will be awarded as part of the Game Awards 2020, which will be live streamed on December 10th. Now, in past years, I'll admit this, I've been very vocal about some of the things that have transpired, more so things that were pitched by the host and producer of the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley. But I will say this, I've said this before, I will die on this hill. Even though there are a lot of people that have a distaste for him, they don't like that he wears his Sony loyalty on his sleeve. And I say, who cares? That's his brand of choice, and he's allowed to have it. I think that he is good for the industry. Do I agree with some of his choices? No, I certainly do not. But I think that it's because of his tenacity for the industry, his love for gaming as a whole is why the Game Awards is a relevant situation and why it even exists. So again, you don't have to love the guy, but you definitely got to respect what he does for the industry. He has done things for gaming that people do not give him credit for. And again, I understand that I'm going to probably lose some subs over this, but I don't care. I speak the truth. And again, I don't always agree with the way he does some things. He has in the past aggravated me to the point of reaching out to him, but tweeting him in a most professional manner is, sharing my distaste for what he has done. And you know what? I again, we can be critical, but you can also do that in a positive way by giving your opinion without cursing, which is what I normally do online. But we do now have the complete view of all of the categories and nominees for 2020. And considering how terrible of a year it has been for the world, for gamers, it has been a dream come true. The stay-at-home orders allowing many, many gamers to chop down at their backlogs has been a gamer's paradise. But, obviously the amount of new and old categories is extremely long. So for the sake of time, we will be talking about a handful of them. And just so you know, because I know people were asking, how do they pick these things? Is it just Jeff Keighley? No, actually, it's 90 plus judges from across the industry that includes developers, publishers, and content creators, as well as many people in the media. And of those 90 people, they pick what is going to be in these categories and on all three consoles are supported, the Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. They're all there. What's really interesting, at least for me, the most exciting part, and I think most people will admit this, one of the most exciting parts is the world premiere gameplay trailers that we get there. And it has become commonplace the last 3 years that we should expect some big bombs. Last year, we saw Microsoft announce the Series X and Hellblade 2 to the dismay of many. A couple of years before that, we had big announcements from Sony. We've seen some big announcements from Nintendo, and I'm expecting them to have some big announcements leading into what is going to be releasing in 2021, potentially 2022. But let's start off with some of the small topics, and I'm just going to read them through, and then we'll get our opinion. And again, there are some people on the panel and in the chat that feel a little jaded with some of the picks, especially in the Game of the Year award, which has been a hot topic for many years. I mean, if you remember last year, I was extremely critical that Gears 5 did not get the nod, and Control, even though it was a good game, I thought Gears was a much better produced title, and I thought that they got snubbed. But here is some of the smaller. This is, again, we're not going to be talking about each particular category because we'll be here the next Tuesday. But I'm just going to read the categories, and then we're going to give our general opinion about some of the picks. The best indie game, they have Carry On, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Oh my God, that game should win because I'm addicted to that game. It's like crack cocaine. Hades is another game that a lot of people don't know about. Check out Hades on the Nintendo Switch. It is really good.
Yeah.
Spelunky 2, not so much for me. And Spiritfarer, which is another good game. Best VR AR, Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Iron Man for Marvel, for PlayStation VR, Star Wars Squadrons gets the nod, and The Walking Dead Saint and Sinners, which is supposed to be really good. Best Performance, Ashley Johnson for Ellie, Last of Us 2. Laura Bailey, Abby, Last of Us 2. Dasuki Suji, Jin, Ghost of Tsushima, which I think he should win. But then again, I would not dislike Laura Bailey winning for Abby. Abby is one of my favorite characters of Last of Us 2. Logan Cunningham, Hades. And Najir Jerome for Miles Morales. And again, I have only an hour into it, but from what I've seen, that kid can act, and he just a masterpiece from what I've seen so far. Best audio design comes in with Doom Eternal, which was fantastic. Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, which I think should win that because, man, when you hear those things around the corner, you are afraid to go around that corner. The Last of Us 2 is also on this list. Best score/music, we have Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and The Last of Us 2 getting the nod once again. Best art direction, Final Fantasy VII, Ghosts of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and again, The Last of Us Part 2 gets the nod.
So this is basically Red Dead 2 all over again, but we'll get Last of Us in every category.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting.
I told you,
so more
Last
likely,
of Us 2 is going to win everything.
Bro, at this rate, what's going to happen? You know, I think they're going to do. Remember how they showed that crazy bias towards Red Dead 2? Like, it was in every nomination, like the crazy extended show, like the music showcase and that stuff. I think they'll probably do that for Last of Us 2, and more than likely, Last of Us 2 is probably going to win like a good chunk of these.
That's right.
It's probably going to win 4 awards.
I don't know about Game of the Year, though. They might toss that up.
That is Game of the Year. I don't care what nobody says.
No, it is not.
You say Game of Gen. That's just
listen, it closed out the Gen. It closed out, and it's this year.
So that put
and it's not really, these consoles launched to some very minor stuff. It's nothing on the caliber of Last of Us 2. I'm so sorry. Nothing on that PlayStation 5 or that Series X made you hold your controller with tears in your eyes, talk about I don't want to do it. So
out of much respect for King, I'm going to use one of his own lines. Your choice for Last of Us 2 for anything is in the bushes. At least. And here, this is the what is it? Did I say okay? Best, like I said, best game direction. The last one, the big one, Game of the Year 2020. Animal Crossing's New Horizons, which Joe think is going to get the nod. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghosts of Tsushima, my choice. Hades by Supergiant Games, and The Last of Us once again. And listen, The Last of Us 2, I'll say this.
Production is fantastic.
Everything about that game. The stealth mechanics, incredible. The leveling up, the RPG aspect added, absolutely incredible. The voice acting, second to none. Graphically, incredible. But I have to say, for me personally, they made me the choices that they made for the story seemed very disjointed. At times it seemed very confusing. The going back in time seemed a little confusing, for at least for me, without any explanation. I just hated the way that they treated Abby. I hated the way they turned Ellie into the villain. I understand it's storytelling. I understand that some people may enjoy that. For me, it was the most. I didn't enjoy it. I went from really, really putting a lot of time into that game to almost forfeiting playing another Last of Us, because I usually go back in and I try to platinum these games, a lot of their single player stuff, and I started to go back in to get some of the trophies, and I was so disgusted that I just put it down and never went back. And that's because of the story ruined it for me as a fan of the IP. But again, that's just my opinion. So King, let's go to you. Now let's go to you first. Now, obviously, like many awards shows before it, there is a tremendous amount of controversy behind Jeff Keighley and this particular award show, because there are some people that believe, like for instance, I saw a lot of people saying that Alex Half-Life Alex, I should say, got the snub for it should have been in Game of the Year 2020 because the game was so incredible. I've also heard people say Ori and the Will of the Wisps should have been in this list. But then again, do you really take out Hades for Ori? I don't know. Do you take out Final Fantasy for Ori? It's hard. Do you take out Animal Crossing for Ori? That I would agree with, because I think when you look at Animal Crossing, it's a phenomenon. It sold very well for Nintendo, and it's a franchise and an IP that makes basically cash loads of money at every turn. But does it belong in the Game of the Year category? I say nay. What are your thoughts on the picks and some of the categories that we discussed?
Well, Jeff Keighley is definitely an individual who is going to leave his stamp on our chosen form of media genre. He's brought respectability,
yes,
to what has been nerd geek culture. He made it popular for us to have a show that we can look at with our heads up high and actually, have some form of respectability when it came to these video games that, everybody used to shun us for. So I'm not going to get too down on Jeff at all. And at no point in time will I believe that my opinions on every game should be heard in every genre. Sometimes, movies and stuff don't make it to different categories, and it's not for a lack of trying, but in all fairness, the spectrum is broad. Okay, so now you may see The Last of Us in a lot of these categories. Well, I'm going to say, excuse me, it is the game of a generation. It is the game of the year. It is a story told unapologetically and unafraid.
Yeah, that's true. You're true. They do
Yeah.
touch on very, very, very eggshell-like topics,
stuff
and
that
they're not
no
afraid.
console game would ever even think about. And there's only a couple of games that I can think about that,
At the goal.
You and Me is something like that. Is a game that's on the Xbox, something like that. But it's stuff that would make a game of that caliber try to play it safe. They didn't. So if you see that game a lot in every category, is a reason. From musical score to art direction to character voiceovers to gameplay to actual story narrative to Game of the Year, the game deserves to be in every category. Good. Now, when you start to look at other games and you start to question other games, the question is, do you have an inherent bias towards certain things? Because if your title is not represented, do you yell, "Oh, foul! Jeff is doing Jeff things, and Jeff is trying to control the narrative"? Jeff doesn't really pick the topics. I mean, doesn't pick the games.
Yeah, he doesn't have a vote.
So you got to stop that. What Jeff is and what Jeff is doing is Jeff is the vehicle to bring this to you. And I think he tries as much as possible. Except for that, I'm not going to front when he was down with his boy Kojima. I don't care what nobody say. That was his man, and he was letting his man get his rocks off. All right, so I don't care. And
I mean, it didn't help that he was in the game too. That was the thing.
Exactly, right?
It didn't help.
Didn't help that he was in the game, and he probably got an advanced copy, and he probably knew where the direction was. It doesn't matter.
The game was barely out like a month too, and all of a sudden it was
yes, very suspicious. But what I would say is Jeff is doing his hardest, and all the categories are definitely well represented. If you're an Xbox dude and you say to yourself, "Oh man, I don't see my games there," give these developers time to make games of this caliber. Sony did not walk in this room overnight. Now, from an Xbox head, if I'm voting for The Last of Us in every category.
So, listen, that's a great thing about democracy. You are allowed to do it, even though I think that you're wrong, but that's okay.
I mean, you know what good games does, That's just what it is.
You know what? Actually, King, you bring up a great point, King. Right. You bring up a really fantastic point. First of all, I want to just retch around to what you said about the very uneasy topics. When you try to tell a story that involves sexual preference and religion, it is a very, very dicey game. And a lot of people, listen, I don't know Neil Druckmann personally. I know that he can be brash, but more importantly, as a creator, he is, like you said, unapologetic, and you have to respect that. Now, granted, maybe the story is something that just did not work for you. Now, that did not bother me at all. I did not like the direction that they took the main protagonist in Ellie. I really, really hated what they did with her. I absolutely,
because you loved her.
Well, you know what? That's true. But you know who I fell in love with? Abby. I think that Abby was, my God, what a great, great character.
Yes.
I thought that she was voice acted unbelievably fantastic.
All of them were, yeah.
They all were. They really all were. But her story, for me, for some reason, I just fell in love with her character.
You're going from this ruthless killer to this like broken, sympathetic person at the end.
You understood.
Yeah, you understand why she was like this heartless killer.
To this, because she was never that. She was this lovable, beautiful flower of an individual.
She was essentially Ellie. If Ellie legit had a legit father figure, like a she was.
There's
Ellie.
A lot of, and that's the thing is like, listen, we could disagree of where the story goes. Yeah. This game is fucking brilliantly written in those regards.
Yeah, quality production, the scenes, all that stuff. Like all that stuff is well shot. You would think this is something from you would think this was a movie, like low key, like no cap. All this was like from a movie.
It was because it made me feel those emotions of a blockbuster film that makes you sit down, like The Notebook and stuff. And yes, I did say The Notebook. That makes you sit there because you know what, or Time Traveler's daughter, husband or whatever. That it made you feel.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many times do we pick up that controller and don't feel?
Right.
Like that's why I love that Spider-Man, because it was a part in that Spider-Man that he looked up to Doc Ock as a father.
And he just really died. Yep.
And it broke my heart playing this game. So
no one was gonna happen.
If you know that a game can tell a story in a manner that can make you feel something, you sit down, you pick up that controller, other than you feeling that rumble.
Yep.
You feeling that rumble in your heart, in your head. I don't care what anybody said. That is definitely a category that it should be warranted of Game of the Year. Now, there's other games that's in there, and maybe it don't win. Maybe somebody felt another game was a whole lot better. But at the same time, the genius of Neil Druckmann has been noticed.
I want the same level of attention and the detail to be in the next Uncharted game. I want that.
Me too. I agree.
I need that in the next Uncharted because I remember the last good Uncharted story was part 2 with Shangri-La.
Yeah,
Shangri-La was beautifully written. You know what I'm saying? It has so many great twists. Even at the end, you're like, okay, they're looking for the Chintamani stone. Oh wait, the Chintamani stone is not really a stone; it's resin, and it's tree sap that they're going after for eternal life. It's like, wow, that was a nice spin. So they're smart.
See, to bounce off King, to me, my game of the year, it is becoming a fight. It's still Ghost. I still love Ghosts. I really do think every time I think of The Last of Us Part 2, I'm like, if I wasn't in lockdown while I was playing this game, what would have my thoughts have been more for this game or against it? Because to me, I think of the 2 scenes, right? Or one line in particular, right? Abby saying to Lev, "You're my people." That scene is fucking powerful. And then the last scene I think about almost every week because I'm like, that is some of the most brilliant acting. It's the best acted scene in a video game, just bar none. And you understand the hurt, you understand the revenge, and you understand it's based off of forgiveness. And it's just like, oh fuck me, it's multiple layers. Yeah, again, absolutely. I may have not agreed with the route they went, but when I look at that, it's kind of like a Last Jedi situation. It's like, I don't like where you took Luke. God damn it, though, I do understand it. So, so for me, it's always a fight between the two of Ghosts because it is such a great and it's respecting the genre, and in Last of Us is smashing the glass ceilings. So, for me, my fear is because look, if Last of Us wins, I don't particularly care, right? If my game of the year is Ghosts, fine. And I'm loving Demon Souls, so maybe it's Demon Souls by the end of the year. Who knows? But
Demon Souls is fantastic,
so fucking good, so good. Oh my god, best remake / remaster. That's gonna be a bloodbath category.
I hope this reports is true, and they do pick up Blue Point. They deserve they deserve the funding. Give that to Sony. Go.
Dude,
let's go. Seriously. Give them the go ahead. Have them remake Jack and Daxter. Do whatever you need to do to get these classics back because Demon Souls is a love letter. It feels amazing. They added their own spin on it. I appreciate it. And on top of all that, the DualSense adds more to this. When you shoot magic, you feel that effects. Oh, dude.
I think Blue Point definitely should be. Joe, I do want to add something to your point, Joe. And you mentioned the word Star Wars. I think the victim here is Jedi Fallen Order.
It's your Abrams,
because
that's true. I forgot about Jedi Fallen Order.
Here's the issue. The issue is that Respawn is put out a game.
Star Wars.
It literally in the history of Star Wars. Like I said, and unfortunately, now granted, listen, financially they made a lot of money on the game. Critically, it was well reviewed. It was well received. So they're not really.
It did better than that god awful new trilogy that they tried to do.
A lot of people don't know this about Fallen Order. The only thing that sold better than Fallen Order was Call of Duty.
Yep.
What?
It sold.
It sold really well, King. It sold really well.
It sold fantastically well.
So part 2 is getting that. You're getting that.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get a part 2. But again, when you talk about an awards show. And you look at this list, for instance, I understand that a lot of people in the chat are saying that this is more of a popularity contest. And to some extent, I think all awards really are a popularity contest.
That's kind of the same way I feel too, because you remember Alien Isolation? Alien Isolation never made it to this show too, and that's a phenomenal game from Sega. One of their
just to point out in a different field, Oscars. I love Black Panther. Was that really motion picture of the year nomination, worthy? Not really. It
was for what it stood by.
Yeah, it was what it represented at a time. So You know, like I said, a lot
it
of
was
times,
basically our version in our community. It was our version of Batman. And
it was a little bit more than that because it put different. But I mean, we're spending. That's right. Yeah. But I understand exactly what you meant when you said it. You understand? Yeah. So everybody's gonna have like I said, everybody's gonna have a feeling of why isn't my title represented? And like you said, that Jedi Fallen Order. Yes, it is fantastic, especially if you're playing it now on your PlayStation or your Xbox.
Oh, dude,
and it's definitely with the 60 frames per second. Hello, sir.
Dude, the fan service in that game.
Pass that game.
Guys, the fan service in that game.
I'm sorry, if I'm gonna plat it again on Xbox, you're kidding yourself. I'm gonna plat that shit on Xbox. Whatever. 1,000K.
Joe King. The actual fan service in that game where they play Anakin's theme when you see Darth Vader.
My God,
that scene had so much tension, like the movie originally did. When you first heard the heavy footsteps, and then you hear in the distance, like it's like, yo, remember him?
Yeah, and then she's like, "It's him." I'm like,
"Oh my God!" Like you knew it just got real.
And here's the thing, like you're right, like the one I think the biggest issue with the Game Awards is when it happens, because the Oscars it comes in February. Like one of the arguments is like, oh well, it's during the holiday season. It's really mostly for marketing and PR. The reason why it's in December, it really should be maybe in January or February. But again, the argument is it's a lot slower that time of year.
Yeah.
But like games get left out. Like Cyberpunk, if Cyberpunk, was able to get the
that's Cyberpunk's fault, bro.
Exactly. But like, if they were just like, because the reason why the Oscars is in February is it gives all the judges a month because they get all the movies early.
See you next year, buddy.
Yeah.
See you next year.
No,
hopefully
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Who's that guy from the last show?
Is in next year.
Who was that guy 2 years ago that was at the Game Awards? He was like, "Fuck the Oscars."
Joseph Ferris. Joseph Ferris is my boy.
That's the one who did. His game was Get Out, not Get Out. No, what was
A Way Out.
A Way Out.
A Way Out.
And that game literally is mind bending for what it achieved and how he got it there, and his brashness of it, and it will never be done again. Because EA lost a boatload of money, but that game is definitely one of the best games that I saw from EA. And if EA had the balls, and I'm telling you, EA, if you had the balls, you would make those type of games, and you would show fan service, because that game did nothing but show fan service to each and every person. If I can purchase one copy of the game and share it with my friend, to play with my friend across the web to finish it, I think that it within itself would show that EA isn't as bad as we think they are, and for it to come out of EA.
Yeah,
it blew my mind.
We got the best Star Wars story / game in a long time out of EA. We got that game A Way Out of EA. I mean, it's like delivering games. The thing is, your marketing and your messaging is always screwed up in how you go about it. Like, I remember correctly, A Way Out they didn't even give it a proper month in terms of releasing that at all. Remember, they released that during Call of Duty.
Yeah,
they remember that? They sent it to die. It is threw it out there in the market.
Threw it into the bushes.
Oh, man. Why would you do that?
I do have a feeling that like Ghosts and Last of Us will cannibalize each other. Animal Crossing is gonna take it. I'm telling you.
Don't say that. That's gross. I'm sorry.
Guess what? If Animal Crossing wins and Tom Nook bought his way to get nominated, bought his way to a victory, good for Tom Nook. Because for me, it won't change my mind.
Corrupt bastards. I'm sorry.
Tom Nook. I know, dude. I don't.
You know what? Let me get Dreadpool and Crispy Bomb into the conversation, and then we're gonna pick our what we're expecting to release at these awards. But before I get to these two gentlemen, I want to catch up on some of the very generous super chats that have come in. We have Regulator 951, another generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Says, "Good morning, brothers. No one misses Primal Rage. Oh my God, Primal Rage was so good. That is a classic fighter. I'd love to see that get remade. I know it's silly. It's a silly dinosaur game, but why not, right? Bando Fox drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Abby is a babe. A strong woman. LOL. So I'm assuming that you listen. I loved her character, loved everything about her. Case by case basis drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, having a heartfelt connection in games. One thing I hope is that Halo Infinite gives us a little big bro connection between Chief and that pilot. Hopefully that does in fact happen, that there is some sort of a real a comrade kind of a situation that potentially morphs into like a family type of deal. We have our I don't know how to pronounce this, Artemis, Artemis drops a very generous, $10 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, Artemis. He says GOT is put in because it's a fan favorite, but I can't see this critic that didn't review it and will then turn around and vote for game of the year. Would you say that's wrong about the first impression of the game? Look, I've said this. Joe agrees with me on this. BitCloud agrees with me on this. I think that the numbers for the review should be swapped. I think that Last of Us 2 should be sitting at an 81, and I think that 92 should have been Ghost of Tsushima. King disagrees. I get it, but that's just my personal opinion on that. Bando Fox drops another outstanding, very generous $2 super chat and says, Fallen Order was Prince of Persia Jedi. Loved it. Yes, it was really good. Regulator 951 drops another outstanding $2 super chat and says, Capcom, bring me back Power Stone and we're good. Yes, I will love to see them bring back Power Stone 1 and 2 in an HD remake. And Capcom has been known to do that, so maybe that is a possibility. But let's, Dreadpool, listen, I listed only some of the categories. It is really long. They've added some new ones. The ones that I completely glance over that I can give a shit about is the esports. It's just not my bag. I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know any of the teams, so it literally means nothing to me. But for you, what are your feelings on the big one, the game of the year? Do you feel like anything got snubbed?
Yes. Are you kidding me? What snacks got snubbed? What happened there? No, well, I've been holding back. You guys have been talking about Star Wars, and that is the one thing that really pissed me off, that they didn't even get a nomination or anything.
No sound design, no music, nothing. Yeah,
nothing. And then what did we do when we got our new consoles? Those of us that did we not pop that game back in again?
You sure did. Yeah, we all did. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just an embarrassment. How do you have something like that was fought for and said, oh, well, you know what? It didn't make it this year, so it's in next year, and then was completely forgotten. I mean, it was snubbed twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They changed the date, and I believe they change the date again this year?
Yeah, they did.
So, see what I'm saying? It's like,
it's funny because actually that's a great point, Dreadpool, because if you remember, Jedi Fallen Order released on the last day.
Mm-hmm.
On that last day that they considered to be the day that you can be considered for the 2019 Game Awards, and they said no, next year. So yes, you're absolutely right. Great point, and that's great deduction that Jedi Fallen Order, one of the best-selling games of 2019, not only a best-selling game, a tremendously reviewed game and beloved game by the community who appreciates a new original Star Wars story, didn't get snubbed once; it got snubbed twice.
Yeah, so that's all I got for that. I'll let Crispy carry on. I mean, we've already discussed all about Star Wars. I just want to get my point out there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know you're a Star Wars buff, and
they're defeated.
Yeah, I would be totally upset too.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a fantastic point, Dreadpool. I didn't even actually think about that it got snubbed twice, to be honest with you.
It's hard to create original characters in Star Wars. Like, people need to understand that. It's tough to do that, but it's also tough to even execute it the way they've done it.
And a lovable droid.
Yeah.
Each time, you know what I mean? Each time they have a new lovable droid that doesn't annoy you and is useful.
Yeah. BB-8 became a crowd favorite.
Yes, as popular as R2, which is pretty hard to do. Crispy, let's get your opinion on this. I mean, again, I'm interested to hear what you thought about the top game of the year choices are, and do you agree with the panel that seems to be unanimous in saying that that Jedi Fallen Order got snubbed?
It definitely did. I think it got snubbed last year more than anything. I think it would have won if it was included. You know, because it wasn't really a strong year. This year is such a strong year for, you know, all these games are definitely worthy. I would say that, you know, Animal Crossing, you know, as far as emotions concerned, I really don't think you get much of that in that game. I mean, now granted, I haven't played it, but it seems more like a Sims cartoony type thing. That's great and all. It's going to sell. But I feel like Ori really gave you like super emotion without even speaking the spoken word.
Yes.
The tears I shed at the beginning of that game were you know, those were just organic and just amazing. Like the soundtrack and everything. Like any nomination it has, I think it should win. But Jedi Fallen Order, I mean, it baffles my mind that they've snubbed it twice. Like, it made me love Star Wars again. And I think it's a really sad thing that they just put it to the wayside and said, oh, it's been so long. Nobody cares. Yeah, we do care. Sorry. You know, like it should have been nominated for something.
And I agree.
They don't have write-ins. I mean, we should get an online write-in.
Yeah.
I think what Dread's saying, I'm sorry, what Crispy's saying, like Ori, like is the thing that got robbed. Like, look, I loved Doom Eternal. That thing that replaced that with Ori. Like really, like Ori is, from what I hear, from what I understand, from what I've seen, is just such an amazing game. How the hell did it only get 2 votes? Like that's crazy to me.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, again, it's a bit of a head scratcher. I don't know how many games get into each category and they chop it down through these 90 developers, publishers, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works. Who's a part of it? I know that
blame Tom Nook.
Tom Nook is probably the head of the board. Wouldn't be surprised. But listen, you know what? Continuing, because we have 20 minutes left of the show, and I kind of want to get everyone's feelings and the chat's feelings of what they're expecting in regards to big reveals. We know that as it stands right now, I think it's safe to say that the biggest reveal of all time has to be given the nod to Microsoft and last year's 2019 Game Awards when they showed off the Series X and Hellblade 2.
Yeah, so that's never been done before.
No, never in the history of the program. It has never been done, and they really did shock the world, showing what the console looked like and what the control looked like almost a year before it was released, along with Hellblade, is something to be marveled about. But King, for you, I mean, obviously, Nintendo is going to be represented, PlayStation is going to be represented, and Xbox is going to be there. The question is, who is going to come away with the big reveal? What are you expecting to be there?
I expect Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer to do another boss move. In a way of showing something that people don't expect. Could be Hellblade 2. It could be. They just showed this other game not too long ago. It was just the other day, and I was just like, "Wow, that looks amazing." The title's escaping me, but Sony could take this moment because they are the kings of copycats. So Sony could take this moment and show you the DLC, which is God of War Ragnarok. Because if the game is supposed to be out next year, we could get something of the Thor versus Kratos battle. Something,
Mjolnir versus the
like could you imagine Thor throwing the hammer and Kratos catching it? Like, I will pass out in my living room. I would in my living room. You would hear a snap.
He's worthy.
That you would hear a snap and will be my vertebrae separating itself from my cerebral cortex and me just laid out in the middle of the living room.
You know what will do it for me, King? If we actually get to like actually see this, like visually see Kratos lift Mjolnir.
No. See, because that's nice. But could you imagine Kratos at one side of the field, and remember,
yeah,
where Thor showed up, and Thor's at the other side of the field, and Thor heaves Mjolnir straight at him, and he catches it to the side. He just moves over and he catches it with one hand to the side of his face. My brain will snap right there. Right there, and
all the ambulance.
I could not get to the PlayStation Store subliminally fast enough to book my copy. Copy booked. Like
that thing still sticks with me, even from PS4, because how well they were able to capture all that stuff with the lightning and everything, and how the world was like trembling with his might when he was just standing there, and he goes, "Who are you?" And he unsheaves, and you just see Mjolnir, and it cuts. That is one of the best ways of getting you hyped for a sequel.
And remember, Thor's upset because you killed his sons.
Yeah, you killed both his sons. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Listen, Sony, please. Somebody get it together. Please. See, I already know Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer is going to do something phenomenal. I brought 2 consoles. All right? 2. I didn't buy 1. I brought 2. I'm hyped for Ratchet and Clank. I'm waiting for that to come. And I think that's going to be my full-fledged 15-hour to 20-hour game that I'm going to get. Show me the future. Show me the future. That's all I want. The future. Show me the future.
Do you have the S in the living room? Or is that like is the S connected in the living room, or is that in your main?
No, the S is in the bedroom.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah,
no. Who the hell's gonna put their S inside the living room? That is their main console. Get out of here! No way! No way! No.
I forgot you gave in the. I forgot you gave in the living room. I thought you had the Series X in the man cave.
No. I have an X in the man cave. I have an X in this man cave. X upstairs in the living room. X in my other apartment, and the S in the bedroom, and the S in the bedroom. And one PlayStation.
That's for the people that have the TCL and just come from the TCR. Right?
TCL crew.
Did you imagine
TCL? Shout out to Luke Lore, who just sucks, but he's also getting an LG. He's thinking about upgrading from his TCL to a LG. Like he's like, I'm about to take it.
Take it from someone who gamed on a TCL and gamed on a regular PS4 last gen, and King already know this. Once you go to them 4K monitors, like me, I went to the Acer Predator X27. Yeah, you're
hard to go back.
Definitely
hard to get back. You know what? Speaking of Big Cloud, let's get you into the conversation. Obviously, it's safe to assume, without sounding like a lunatic, that Microsoft, PlayStation, and Nintendo are going to be well represented. Now, I can't say who's going to be better represented, but I'm happy, like King, to see the future of gaming. I'm hoping that we get something new from PlayStation. I hope we get something new that's coming soon from Microsoft, and of course, Nintendo. We could get some Breath of the Wild 2 love. We could get, of course, for Microsoft, we could get some Fable. We could get Avowed. We could get something, maybe even the game that is coming out by the people that made We Happy Few. Maybe we get a chance to see what that BioShock meets Uncharted looks like. I know it's one of Phil's favorite games that we haven't seen yet, that he's most looking forward to. So that sounds like it's very special. And of course, we could get some new information regarding the next God of War. We could get something from Horizon Forbidden West, or something that has been unannounced. What are you expecting to come out at the Game Awards in regards to a world premiere?
So in terms of a world premiere, I'm expecting, at least the way things are looking, I'm expecting a full-fledged gameplay reveal for Forbidden West. If that would be a big deal for them to showcase that off, but also
maybe a release date as well.
Yeah, because another thing a lot of people forgot about too, and this is involving Insomniac. There was another game they had that they were working on that got leaked a while ago. It was like a gameplay, like teaser or something like that, like trailer. got leaked. And I'm wondering if they'll ever go back and showcase that, like showcase some more context that and actually officially reveal that game. But we don't know the name of it, I don't think, of that. So that'd be cool to see.
Yeah,
but I think Forbidden West, maybe you'll hear a familiar voice say "boy."
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
And for Ragnarok, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, that sounds good. A super chat just came in from a very good, actually 2 super chats came in. One, our very good friend Everborn Saga, he drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "What's up, fella? Yeah, what's up, dude?" And hopefully you're talking with Cognito to get you on the Iron Lords. I think people need to check out not only you as a podcaster there, Everborn, but check out your insane talent when it comes to the creation of the Everborn saga that you are currently working on. And Hank Dank, another generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "Biggest reveal, Evil Dead Hail to the King." Yes, I'd love to see that come out because, of course, I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. But let's go to Crispy Bomb. Crispy, for you, the Game Awards coming out in a time where it's hard to kind of put any of these shows together, and they're going to get it done. They've been working on it to see what works. Obviously, they did some stuff during the summer with Jeff Keighley that did not hit and resonate with gamers, but this particular program does have usually big reveals. What are you expecting to show up? What do you more so want to see from these companies, Nintendo, Xbox, and of course, PlayStation?
Well, personally, what was it? 40 million people watched last year.
Yep.
So you have that much. Now you have a bunch of people locked in their homes, a lot of them. I'm thinking we're going to be hitting some crazy numbers when this comes out. And I think it's going to be a battle of mind share. Right in front of our eyes. I think PlayStation's going to bring what they've kind of teased us. I mean, I truly believe God of War is going to be there. I mean, it would be perfect timing. Makes total sense. But Xbox has a lot of things going on, and you could see something from the Initiative. You could see Hellblade 2. You could see Starfield. We haven't seen anything from Starfield.
Yeah, that's true.
Bethesda's there, and they might just represent themselves. You never know. I mean, we don't know the contractual obligations between the two companies, so it might just come out as Bethesda. But we all know what's coming after that. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see, how each company approaches it. I think Sony is definitely playing ball now and realizes that, when you had 40 million people see that reveal in 2019, it kind of resonated with people. It kind of made them say, maybe I should think about Xbox a little differently. So I'm sure Sony's got some trick up their sleeve, but I also know, that showcase, I think truly Hellblade 2 is supposed to have something more than just showing the mapping involved and everything else. I think they kind of switched it up and said, you know what, we got to save this one. So hopefully we see it, because the hype around Hellblade 2 is real. And, I think they're going to really add on to the gameplay mechanics and everything else. I think it's going to feel more warlike. And I think it's going to be something really, really awesome, especially with the voices inside your head. I think it's going to be something incredible. It'd be like behind you, and like you're just battling like multiple people at once. I think that would be really just amazing. And I really think God of War it just makes sense for them to be there too. So it's
you
gonna
played
be
the first
really,
Hellblade, right, Crispy?
I'm about halfway through. I mean, it is that game. You have to take in doses, dude. Like it's
beat the game. When you beat it, you'll fully understand how well that game is.
Because dude, that game messes with your head, bro.
It does, especially and again, if you please, if you have not played Hellblade, or even if you
treat yourself.
Treat yourself to a decent pair of headphones. And listen. I am telling you right now, it's literally 2 different games. Yeah. It is Ninja Theory's best crafted title, but the sound in that game when you have headphones on, they do something unlike anything ever done before. And listen, I can't attest to some people that suffer from mental illness, because obviously I don't have it. I've worked with it in my prior career, I just can't attest to it. I can say with absolute respect that Ninja Theory crafted something that gives you a peek into someone's mental psyche on what they're hearing potentially in their heads while they're living real life. And it is.
I'm happy they got the full production now.
Oh yes, they absolutely do. I think they're going to knock it out of the park. I agree.
Yeah, because the one gripe really was a lot of people didn't like some of the gameplay mechanics. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
now
they were indie studio.
Like, well, and that's the point. Like they literally had now they've added so many new devs to that.
Well, they were facing bankruptcy.
Yes, they
That's
were.
true, yeah. Like they had certain. I think it was. They had members of the staff playing like some of the enemies. Y'all remember? Like they were dressed up, and you could see it like legit, like how they did it. Even the demons,
main character. Even
they did that. Yeah. So
it's not unheard of. I mean, you do what you got to do to get where you got to get to, and they put a superior product out in the street, and they got picked up by a company that needed their talents. So, kudos to them for working as hard as they did. You know,
it was a silver lining at the end of the day.
Sacrifice was worth it.
Here's the
and
thing,
those people are super humble.
Here's the thing, and it truly makes me sick to my stomach, the disrespect I'm hearing from everyone. All right, because there's no respect being put on what will be the greatest surprise here at the Game Awards. Because I'm hearing God of War this, Horizon that, Ratchet and Clank, boopity boopity boppity. I don't want to hear any of it. Okay, do you want to match the caliber of Xbox, or do you want to exceed it? Right?
Okay.
What do you want? You want draws to drop. You want people to have a religious experience. I don't know, even climax, mentally, physically, metabolically.
Are you streaking?
It's been 2,068 days. Nay, let's round up. Let's be classy. 2,069 days since the original Bloodborne release. We have not seen a sequel. We deserve a sequel.
Demon Souls.
I mean, you have Demon Souls.
It's not enough. Daddy's still hungry. Daddy needs to eat.
It's over. Daddy ain't getting no meals.
If I see that saw cleaver,
I'll tell you what.
God.
If they purchase Blue House, have Blue House make
it would be hilarious if they build Bloodborne on Xbox.
Let's go. I don't care. I'll do it. So and that's the thing too, because I was talking Sin Vendetta, who's a massive Souls fan, and he's just
he's cool.
I need From to do it because Miyazaki needs to be a part of it. Yeah, the only way that he'd be okay with it, and I know a lot of other Souls fans, is as long as Miyazaki has say in this thing, then we're fine. But also Miyazaki runs a very successful, multi-tiered studios. So he's busy. So I would love to see a collaboration between From and Sony yet again of giving me what I need. That's Bloodborne 2. And Xbox, listen, Xbox, let me see what the
Blue House can be the avenue to do it though. If they ever sign a deal, that could be their avenue.
Because From did Sekiro with them, so there's no precedent.
Plus Blue House blew us away with Demon Souls, so they know how to make a Souls game. So
I think they know how to respect the formula.
With Sekiro. And Sekiro is still sitting over there because it's super hard.
It's too fucking hard. It's too fucking hard. I'll be real.
Guys, that
beats game of the year.
Y'all could beat Sekiro.
Winning purchases.
Wait, hold up. Y'all can't beat Sekiro. I beat that game.
Yeah, God bless. You got 1 billion
because you know what it is. With Sekiro, I suck at parrying. I can't parry for shit. Yeah, Sekiro is all about parrying. So I'm just like,
you can't parry. I can't play. So
listen, I'm right there with you. I bought the collector's edition. I still have it. I have the game.
It's fucking awesome collector's.
Yeah, it is. It's a dope collector's edition for sure. But you know what, Dreadpool, let's get your final opinion on today's incredible show. What for you do you more so want to see revealed in regards to world premieres on December 10th at the Game Awards? Are you expecting something surprising to happen?
Well, I want. And I know it's not going to happen, and it probably will not be shown until next year at the earliest. I want Fable. Okay,
that's
but we
strong
know
pick.
it's not going to be
Strong
there.
pick.
It's not going to be there. That's the problem. We could see Bleeding Edge 2, maybe. No. Would there be a Series V? Possibly. I don't think so. But what I'm thinking, I think we're going to see a glimpse of the Initiative Tomb Raider-esque dark, perfect dark.
Yeah, that's a strong pick, and that's a good possibility.
That's what I'm thinking. That's after breaking everything down, even though as bad as I want Fable, it's not going to.
It'd be really cool because you mentioned it, like with Perfect Dark. You know what game I really miss? I really miss Rainbow Six Vegas.
Oh,
Vegas.
Me too. That would be
if
great.
They had, like, if you give me like third person, like traversal, and then you mix in that like first person element when you're zooming in. God, I love that game so much.
Yeah. How about a new Splinter Cell?
We need more like
that would
shooters
be
like Rainbow
God,
Six.
yes.
Rainbow Six is ahead of its time. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I still love the old Rainbow Six before Lockdown and Black Arrow. We used to play the heck out of those games.
I love Vegas 1 and 2. I think that would be great.
I got two red rings playing that game, boys.
I would take a remake, to be honest with you, but I know that normally they don't do remakes. At least Ubisoft doesn't. So
yeah, I miss Carnival the most. Those maps.
Wow. That's a classic map, dude. Holy crap. You really brought me back with that one. But listen, folks, this has been a great 2 hours. I hope that you were entertained. Great way to start your weekend off. Hopefully, you're going to enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on. But let me just catch these 2 last super chats that came in, and we'll get into the outros. We have Bando Fox drops an additional $2 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. He says, please, Jesus, show me Fable with ray tracing. And yes, I definitely hear you there, brother. But I think that we have a better shot at seeing what Mr. Murray and that team at the Initiative is doing. Not only do we know that his daughter has been playing the game, but we did hear at the beginning of the year, if you remember, that they were going to show their game. Now, obviously, COVID took over the world and things didn't pan out. We do know for a fact that there were some games pulled by Microsoft for, particularly a few of the shows in May and in July, and that could very well have been one of them. So maybe we get a chance to see what a quadruple studio is working on, and Drew Murray and that team are going to be bringing us something amazing. Hopefully it is some sort of a Perfect Dark reboot of sorts. But the last super chat comes in from Laketh, who drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I think Microsoft introduces a new IP. Keep up the good work, Boomer and crew. X-Fact. Well, thank you so much for the generosity, but more importantly, the kind words. And JD Gamer drops in and drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat. And thank you so much, JD. He says, just dropping support hashtag Xbox forever. Indeed, brother. And thank you so much for not only showing up, but being as generous as you normally are. King, we'll start with you. You obviously are back. You obviously Mario has been, peeking over your shoulder, and I don't think he's mad at us, but I think that he might be collecting these this Sunday. And I know that the Santa bag that's going to be keeping these knees in there until the holidays is empty and needs to be filled ASAP. Tell everyone about where they can follow you on social media, but more importantly, what does the King have going on with the Iron Lords and the King of Statues?
Well, King of Statues, as you can see right now, there's Craven the Hunter, which
looks ridiculously dope, by the way.
Insane. It will be going up today to XM Studio. I noticed a lot of guys balking at the prices of the statues that I purchased, $1,200, $1,600, $1,800 per statue. It's a little bit much for certain people. So
that's your hobby, dude. So why people watching your passions?
But
I have a show dedicated to it.
I have a way of getting people into the statue thing.
You're not getting me.
No, actually I will. I know I will. First, you can follow me at Dolph Castle X tonight at 9 p.m. on Open Mic. That's the other show that I'm on. That's where we talk statues. Now, what I've introduced to this, because I've been approached by a prominent statue company to auction off statues.
Oh, wow.
So,
Congrats, man.
Exactly. Right. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to make these statues super affordable. So let's say we have 20 people, right? 20 people put up $10 or $20, and we're gonna go into a raffle. And let's say the raffle off of Craven Hunter. $1,200 statue you get for $20. All right. Wow. And we're gonna be doing raffles every week and also giveaways. If you're a member, we definitely roll through the thing, pull up, the automatic name picker, and you win a statue. What I want to do, and my mission is to get more people into premium statue collecting, because a lot of guys purchase video games and get these PVCs as plastic vinyl collectibles, and they haven't had a chance to see one of these statues in the flesh, and they haven't had a chance to unbox a truly epic statue. And I want to bring that across. So one of the caveats is going to be you have to do a live unboxing. Mm-hmm. So when you win, you got your $20 and you got your Spider-Man Miles Morales or whatever you got. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine? And you get it, and you just do a live unboxing. That's it, on the show. And that is my way to give back. So through the grace of God, I was contacted. They love the content that I put out, and they asked if there's any way to collab. I gave them my conditions, and they said we will meet and exceed those conditions, and this is what they have to offer. Man, so you can catch me on Iron Lords Podcast Sundays at 11 a.m. right now during football season. As soon as it's over, it's back to 1. Please get back to 1. You can catch me on Twitter hanging out with this illustrious team and panel: Mr. Badbit, Mr. Boomstick, BitCloud, Crispy All Day, and Dreadpool. We are all, linked. So we definitely talk, and we definitely talk video games. So if it's Xbox or if it's PlayStation, we're definitely in the know talking about it. And we do have our preferences, but we are not toxic. So that's what I love.
Well, listen, it's great to have you a part of the show. It's great that you're rebounding in your health. Obviously, that is the most important thing. We're closing in on the holidays, so you want to be around to celebrate your, to celebrate with your family. So that's first and foremost. And yes, football season will end when the Steelers go 16-0 and win the Super Bowl. And they are currently 9-0 right now, FYI, if you didn't know. And I am a diehard Steeler fan since 1975, since I was watching football with my dad. Oh, dude, I think they have a shot. I think their wide receiver core is ridiculously young, super talented, and their offensive line is ridiculous, and their defense is just really, really putting out the lights on many of these games. But let's keep this into video games. Yes, sports. There you go. BitCloud, you have an incredible program happening this afternoon. Why don't you tell everyone about your channel that's closing in on 10,000 subs? And also, where can people follow you on social media?
Well, honestly, this didn't even feel like 2 hours. It felt like just a casual 1 hour just talking with friends. But no, it's always a pleasure talking to everybody here. Like King said, we all connected here. We talk gaming. It is what it is. We don't care about difference of opinion. We just it's gaming that brings us all together, and that's what I love about all these guys here. You can find me at BitCloud Gaming at YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And RGT Podcast, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Definitely want to talk about this this big rumor with Demon Souls developer. We got to see that happen. King, I'm happy as hell for you. Seriously, the production you put into the King of Statues is really good. I'm happy that you are now able to do this. That's congratulations to you. I was bummed you missed out on Iron Lords, the last show, but I'm glad you'll be able to make it this time around. So definitely looking forward to see that. For those of you that do not watch the Iron Lords podcast, let me tell you something. That is in my top 3 podcasts in this community. It is seriously one of the best podcasts to listen to. It's no fanboy nonsense. It's legit.
It's family. It's really what it comes down to.
Talking. If you want that vibe, you make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe to him. You subscribe to Lord Cognito, all of them. They're good friends. You subscribe to them. Seriously.
And that's a great point. That's a fantastic point.
I would love for Boom to win a statue. Like, and it sucks right now because the reason why because I know Boom's live unboxing will make my jaw hit the floor. If no one's seen Boom's unboxings, I love it. I tune in. I sit down and I get my popcorn and I get ready. So I would definitely. I can't wait. And I'm gonna be all over Boom. Pause. I'm gonna be all over Boom.
I definitely appreciate it.
Imagine if you gave away the Infinity Gauntlet, like the Hot Toy statue run,
and he compared that. About this one?
Yeah, imagine if you gave away something. Imagine if you gave away something like that, and you just see Boom's face light up when he sees that, like on the actual display, compared to like that fake one that they were selling from Hasbro.
Yo, I could imagine it reaching his house, and he's saying, Josie, I don't know where we're gonna put this thing.
Oh, I would find a place. I would find a place. Yeah, I actually have quite a few of the big, very expensive statues. I have a Dark Knight that's only 10 in the world. Actually, 9 now because
you did show me that. Yes,
I do have the Iron Man one in the big suit. What the hell's the name? The Hulkbuster armor. And I also have a Commander Cody.
Nice.
It's a lifelike bust. It's him with his hand out holding the Emperor lit up in his hand about Order 66.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll take a picture. I'll send it in the DM. It's pretty dope.
Whatever you do though, Boom, don't ever get into the Hot Toys phase where you're paying. Don't do that. Don't get into the Hot Toys phase. Don't do that.
You know, it's funny. I tried and I got into it originally, and I realized that if I wanted to continue to be married, I would not have spent $400 towards, because obviously, come on. I mean, that's Hot Toys. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous, but you know, there's limitations. They're very, very expensive, and they're worth every penny, no doubt about that. But
dude, you want that Mark 50 with all the accessories from Endgame? It's like $1,000 just for that.
Yes, my friend has it.
He does. Oh no,
yeah. I deal with some really eccentric dudes, and I just tell them, they're like, "Yo, so you're gonna buy him?" No, I'm not. I'm not gonna buy him. I'm not gonna follow you into your rabbit hole. You're gonna be in there by yourself.
And now dudes are buying the realistic life-size ones. You know what I'm talking about? The real big standing ones.
$2,000, $3,000
Oh
things.
no.
Good luck on that, pal. That's all I can say. If you can afford that, you're okay in my book. But listen, Dreadpool, why don't we get you on out of here? Tell everyone about your outstanding YouTube channel, where they could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, tell them about Breaking Bread with Dread.
Okay, Breaking Bread with Dread. I just dropped the link in the chat. It is basically myself and another personality. We sit down, we eat, we talk, and it's all recorded live. And then I repost it later on the podcast, YouTube. On Spotify, Apple iPods, and all that fun stuff. King, by the way, congratulations. I do have my own. It's about probably 4 foot tall. Okay, it's a standee of Brutal Legends. Does that work?
Yes, it does.
It's just a standee though. It's paper. But you know what? I got it free. My GameStop, my local GameStop, when I was friends with them before they like started, doing their.
You see Mario right there, right?
Yep.
Mario came from GameStop. They were closing down. It was my favorite GameStop on 86th Street. And it was him, and Zelda's on the floor. He knocked Zelda out cold. Zelda's right here. He laid Zelda out. But it was both of those two, and my guy was like, I was like, yo, how much are they? He's like, how much are they? Man, you've been coming here for years. We're done. Take them.
Yeah, I was
scared the hell out of me because I thought Mario was alive. Maybe he is alive. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't trust Mario.
I was walking out. They're like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I walked out with it.
Hell yeah.
Back to the outros, though. Thank you. Yet again, all these guys, you guys are all my brothers. We've already iterated how much we talk about games. We don't care what our preferences are. We respect each other. We learn from each other, which is the funny part. We learn what the other one's opinions are, of certain games, and then we get educated. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the beauty of this stuff. Gaming should bring us together, not divide us.
Yep.
Unless you're playing Street Fighter 6,
he just sucks.
And then we'll divide each other between the game. But whatever.
Exactly. You will be vanquished.
So, Gaming Beyond the Box, Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Breakfast with Boom right here every Friday at 10 a.m. I'm also now, technically, I am part of Four Guys with Quarters with Italian Clowns, which I help out with the interviews.
Nice.
My DMs are always open, and anytime anybody wants to talk about anything, just let me know. Oh, and by the way, Tuesday, I will be on Gaming After Dark with Noof Nukem, Titan Drago,
nice,
and Mad.
Nice, dude.
Okay?
Nice.
D-Mag. I will be on there with them. Thursday, it's still up in the air, but I'm going to be on the original Next Level podcast.
Okay, excellent.
So I'll be on there with them Thursday night after everybody's done filling their bellies, and hopefully they don't fall asleep from all that turkey. So, I believe that one there is at 9:30.
Okay. Well, you're definitely going to be keeping yourself busy, and we love having you a part of this panel. I'm sure that you have gotten tremendous amount of invites because people understand how passionate you are about gaming. So thank you for sharing with that. And everyone, if you're not following Dreadpool, what the heck are you waiting for?
Yes, and I have to apologize. I did say last week that I was going in for recording that past weekend. Life happens. Teppa's son and Italian Clowns couldn't make it, right? Eventually, I got with Italian Clowns on Thursday. We did our recording. So I'm working on it now. It'll be out, and sometime in the future, I will get back with Tempest Son and do that. I wanted to have the three of us get together. It just doesn't happen all the time, right?
All right. Well, listen, dude. Listen, life gets in the way, brother, and we definitely appreciate the work that you put into that program. That's very unique and new to the community. Mr. Badbit, let's get you on out of here, brother. Tell everyone about the trophy room. Where could people reach out to you on social media, and what you got going on?
This week was a pretty like relaxed week on the trophy room. All things considered, we talk about Kyle and I sit down each and every Thursday, talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. You can find the video version over on YouTube. You can find the podcast versions on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast services. This week we talk about what happens if and will it God of War coming to the PlayStation 4 as a cross-gen. Those rumors, we talk about the Game Awards and how it's going to be rigged for Mr. Tom Nook. And of course, we break down issues people are having with their PlayStation 5s and how sometimes when you put a disc in the disc tray, it sounds like a goddamn chainsaw going off, But I don't have that issue. I got the digital version because I'm smart.
Well, I mean, I got the disc version, and mine does not sound like a chainsaw. Thankfully, definitely get out and check it out.
It sounds loud, though. It start up, boy. It'd be like, hi.
It's like, I'm like, what?
Is that?
Yeah. Luckily, a lot of the issues that some folks have been having have been resolved with that patch. That's very. We fix things.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's good.
Follow the podcast there, the Trophy Room, Mr. Badbit on Twitter, and follow the show PS Trophy Room on Twitter as well. It's me.
Thank you so much for being here, Joe. Thank you. I don't know, at least someone that's going to be busy, very busy next week because of the holiday. Crispy Bomb, why don't you tell everyone where they can follow you and what other shows you are guesting on?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen next week because I got all the gobbles in my cooler right now, and it's not fun. At Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. We'll go with the usuals. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. I think that's happening. You can find me on Next Podcast Thursdays. It's not going to happen on Thursday. Don't know what day yet. And then Breakfast with Boom Fridays, 10 a.m. I think Boom's concerned about all the turkey hangovers, so I'm sure that's going to switch up. I'm probably not going to be on there if it's earlier, but hey, have a happy Thanksgiving. Game on. We love y'all. I love this panel. This is a great panel. Follow all these guys and just happy gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And great way to close it out. Happy gaming. So, folks, listen, we're over the 2-hour mark. We had a great show. We had almost 500 people here in the chat, and that's a big deal for a small channel like this. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to hang out with us on a Friday morning before you start your long weekend. Hopefully, you're going to get a lot of gaming in. And, of course, I want to thank the moderators that keep this chat safe. Lethal Papa, always locking it down the way he normally does. Walks quietly and carries a very big band stick, and we do appreciate the work that he does. And of course, we want to say a big thank you to all of the super chats that have come in. The generosity completely blows my mind each and every time we do a show. And the last one that actually just came in was from our very good friend, the Italian Clowns, who drops an outstanding and very generous $5 super chat as we get on out of here, and says, King, any Mafia Definitive Edition statues? I'd love a wise guy statue. I don't know if there is, but if there is one, I'm sure that you can reach out to King and he will funnel you in the direction of a $500 or $800.
They actually have
we go.
a Don Corleone. What is it? The Last Don statue, which is really crazy.
Okay. So. Well, listen, again, it's probably $1,000, and you know what? That doesn't surprise me in the least. But listen, anyway, everybody,
watch King get Morbius next. Watch.
Oh, maybe. That'd be kind of dope. But listen, folks, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to wish everyone to be well. And I want to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me early on when I was only knee-high. And he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend, and just game on. Take care.